We're live. It's going to take a few minutes to queue up and do all that stuff. And I'm going to prop you guys up on this little rocking chair so I can show you stuff. Let me get you. Whoa, it's moving. Let me get you propped. I don't know where my tripod is, so this is what we're working with. Oh, there we go. Okay. I wanted to talk to you about seeds. Hi, Pookie. This is the time of year when you'll see a lot of sales on seeds. And I want to talk to you about the different companies, what to expect for what you pay, and the quality, like the germination quality of the seed companies, and the places that I like the best and why. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I make zero money off everything, obviously. So this is purely my opinion. Nobody's paying me jack shit for this. So seed companies, if you want me to try your stuff out and be honest about what I think, feel free to send me money. I could use it. Or seeds. I can use those too. So I store all my seeds in these like photo cases, right? Because inside you get a bunch of these. And they are just about the right size for a normal seed packet or a doubled up big seed packet. And as you can see, I've written on each one what kind of seed I keep inside it. Now, I'm doing some landrace and grex and mixes and things like that. And for those, I have an entirely separate seed box, which has labels for what year I've saved that seed from, how good it was, that kind of thing. Why I save seeds. Oh, well, let's try this again. My saved seed, I try to label. That's terrible. I want you guys to kind of see what I'm doing. I wish I knew where my tripod went. Anyway, I try to label all saved seed with just the year, the variety, and a note of why did I keep it. So sometimes it'll say something like good red melon 2022, right? That's all I rate on it. Sometimes I'll write something more, so you'll have better information in the seed packet. Gosh, this thing, I really just need a tripod. Anyway, hi, here I am again. Other times I'll write down like good fruit production or big leaves, or I'll write a note. But my saved seed containers are these with labels on each packet, and then on the top it says what type, right? I got these for like $8 or $9 a piece on sale, I think at Michael's a couple of years ago, maybe. I think the first one I bought was like 2019, and then I just, every couple of years I would get another one cheap. I look for sales. I don't have any money, so I don't spend money. Now, seeds. Places that I like to buy seeds from are places that provide me with enough seeds for more than 1 year. Look at the size of that, right? The size of this packet. Now this is a $5 or $6 packet of seeds, right? I've used it 2023. I've planted a full crop from this twice, and I still have enough for next year, right? If I don't spill them all. That's Johnny's. Johnny's also sends out standard size seed packets. But the thing I've noticed about them is that they will give you a guaranteed minimum amount of seeds in each packet, but you will get a lot more. So this is, seeds per pound, 3,600 and some, and then it says, how many pounds. This is a quarter pound or whatever. So how many seeds you should have in the packet. However, I've had double in this packet what they labeled it with. Johnny's is a worker-owned company, employee-owned, so they're co-op. They're one of the better places, I think, for germination rates. Almost everything I get from them germinates, grows, makes a good plant, and is properly labeled too. I've never had Peppergate or anything like that happen with Johnny's seeds. So, highly recommend them. They're a little bit more expensive than, like, you know, big box store, unlabeled pack brands, Gurneys, Burpees, those. But they're worth it because the germination rate, the holding time, all that kind of stuff, and the amount they give you. Like, let me compare for you. Let me find a comparison. I'm outside, we have a lot of wind chimes. So here's a lettuce container. You can see it's labeled lettuces. Pack is opened, and now there's all these packs in here, right? I've got all these different things. Let's see what we can find that's like standard. Here's a, let's see. Oh gosh, I hardly have any of the like big box store things. Oh, here we go, Dollar Seed. Everybody knows Dollar Seed, right? And here's Burpee. Those are good examples. So Dollar Seed, they give you a good amount, right? And it's very, very cheap, right? And if you save seed, this will be enough to get you started. That's a lot for $1. It's lettuce. You know, that's salads for maybe 2 months, 3 months, if everything germinates. I've noticed their germination rates are a little low. Burpee, now here's their packet, right? Burpee and Gurneys are pretty similar in the amount of seeds they give you and the germination rates of what you get. Big companies, they order seed in and then repackage it to sell to you. So they're ordering from farms that only grow seed. Now Burpees, it says on here 500 seeds, you know, and that's a $4, maybe, I don't know, $3 or $4 pack of seeds. It's about the same amount that you get in the Dollar Seed packet. It's a different variety. This place might not have it, but it's the same amount. It's just more expensive because you're going to the big box store. They price it up, right? Burpees, Gurneys, 500 seeds-ish, Dollar Seed and Burpees for lettuce. Every kind of plant will have a different number. We're just talking about lettuce. So let's look at something else here. We've got now Fedco. I'll talk about Fedco. I order a lot from Fedco because they are inexpensive. They are on par or a little bit less than Burpees and Gurneys. It's very loud here. Urban gardening. So Fedco here. These I've all planted this year 3 times. There's still enough left in here for one more planting. 1 gram of seeds and a gram of lettuce seed is somewhere between 750 and about 800 seeds. So there's more in one of these packets than in either of these. They cost the same as this. So it's a little cheaper, and their germination rate testing is over 80%. And they, unlike Burpee has no germination guarantee. They don't even test, as far as I know. There's no marking saying they test. Oh, here we go. The Dollar Seed is 275 seeds. Burpee is 500. So it will be costing more. These are about as much as this in the Burpee pack. They cost about the same, but they are exceeding above the federal germination test, where they test a number of seeds at random, see what percentage actually grow a plant. Over 80% in each packet. So for the 700 or so seeds I get in here, I know like 600 of those, 650 of those are going to germinate. This one's 500. I have no idea if these will germinate at all because they don't have that testing certificate. Fedco has it. Now, of course, you will see Dollar Seed, right? They don't do any of that. But again, 275 seeds. If you're broke, this is a great way to get seeds cheap and get started. So we've talked Johnny's, big amount, good germination rates. They have their germination tests for each kind on the bottom of the packet. This has a 96% germination rate and minimum of 500 seeds. Burpee just says 500. They measure them by weight. This one, they over measure. They will overcompensate and put extra, but they will never put less than that. And this also gives you the days to baby lettuce, the days to full lettuce, all that kind of stuff. And how many seeds per pound, 96% test. And the date that they tested the germination will be on the Johnny's packets. So if you want reliability, you want to make sure, damn sure you get 500 lettuces for some reason this year, Fedco and Johnny's. If you want a fairly good number of seeds, Burpee, Gurney's, they will have a fairly good number, reasonable number. And if you have almost no money, dollar seed, just go for it. The cheapest seeds you can find. Then we get into the strange stuff. So there are other companies. There's the Seed Savers Exchange. Here we have 2 different varieties from Seed Savers Exchange. And I like these guys, but they give you so few, this is unopened, so few seeds in each packet. So these, it says here, 250 seeds. No germination test. And so that's half as many as even the dollar seed. It's like the dollar seed packets. But these will have weird varieties. So if you live in a place where the climate and the weather is strange, or you need something really specific, Seed Savers Exchange is a very good one for odd varieties. Stuff that you can't just find at the dollar seed or the, Burpee's, Gurney's, the big box stores. If you can't find something and it's weird, Johnny's and Fedco doesn't have it, Seed Savers Exchange is another good one. This is Annapolis seeds, and I like them for a handful of different things. Particularly this Drunken Woman lettuce, which I have had 100% germination from them with this stuff. It likes being dry and stuff like that. These guys, again, open pollinated. They're from Nova Scotia, and their seeds are odd varieties. So if you live in a place with a short season, you might want to check out Annapolis seeds. They have some stuff that's really good for short season. Again, these are more expensive per seed. So if you're looking for production, the amount of food, that's not your goal there. You don't want them. You want Fedco, you want Johnny's, you want an amount that you are guaranteed to get. The other place, and this is the place I order the most from, I think, is Sandhill Preservation Center, and I will hold that up very close for you. I will put the address to get these and the website in the description when I post this video later. Now, Sandhill Preservation is run by an older couple, Sandhill Crane Preservation Society. They also preserve seed lines that are less common. So if you are looking at corn, they will have 150 varieties of corn. The weirdest stuff you can think of. Wait, I gotta read these comments. Seed Saver Exchange. Yep, it's been years. I do watch birds. So Sandhill. It's an older couple, Dennis and Linda, I think are their names. You cannot order this online. You can't go online and fill it out and use your credit card. Boom, you ordered. You have to send them a letter on paper in the mail with a list of everything you want, how much it costs, the total, and a paper check or money order. It's worth it. Now, you saw the 500 pack, right? I opened it and poured it into my hand. So this pack of seeds was about $1.25. As inexpensive as the dollar seed. I've used it once already, so these have already been opened and used. I still have about 300 seeds, lettuce seeds left. I have 2 more entire harvests of lettuce here. Right? And this is Nevada lettuce, so this is for my climate. This is the right, it doesn't mind if it gets dry or hot. They have so many varieties that you can find something that will work where you live. I have Amish deer tongue, and then I have slow bolt and salad bowl from them. So I have multiple varieties from them. A weird variety, they have it. It says on the packet, 15 seeds guaranteed, minimum seed count. They will send me, literally, I'll show you another packet of theirs, but they will send you a packet that's thick with seeds. If they have a lot of excess of that seed that year, you could get an entire one of these big tall packs completely crammed full. They're very generous with their seed counts. And they cost about as much as dollar seed. Cheap, very helpful. If you need help, you can email them and ask them questions about what you're buying. If you want advice, usually what I do is when I'm ordering, I round up. So it's $43, I round up to 45, and I say, send me some packets of things that will work here. You know where I live now, because over the years I've written to them enough and said, described the climate, described my dirt, things that grow good and grow bad here. Please send me just random something that would grow good here. And I have gotten so many things from them as a tester or a free sample, and some of those are more full even than the things I paid for. So sandhill preservation, absolutely fantastic. Then we have places like the Experimental Farm Network, like these guys. 250 seeds per packet. I think this was $2. And this is again a wild garden lettuce mix. These are Northwest local, right? So these came from Philomath, Oregon, which is a little bit drier than the coast. I'm going to try this year. But I order a lot from these guys because they are local. You can seek out companies like this near where you are or in the surrounding states. They're going to grow stuff that really does good right where you are. And then, of course, places like Buffalo Seed Company. We have these guys. 100 seeds. Doesn't have a germination rate. They're from Kansas. Now, the reason I have stuff from them is because there were a few things I wanted to try, and again, the weird varieties. This is a Turkish landrace lettuce, which means that it grows well in dry climates, like that kind of climate. So the place these were developed is a place similar to my climate, so I wanted to try them. They are not cheap. They're, Fedco Johnnies, they're normal price. They're not expensive, they're not cheap, they're in the middle. But they have strange varieties. So Buffalo Seed Company is another one. And then we get into the crazy stuff. Now these are beans. This is not lettuce. These are beans. But one of the places I order a lot of my succession crop seeds, like if I'm going to plant more than once in a year, or it's something that's very standard, or I'm picky about it, like Romano climbing beans. I'm real fussy with these. Franchi cementing. These are Italian, obviously. As you can see, this is a huge bag, and it's full up to about there. I've already popped this open and planted some once. They don't give you a number or an amount when you're ordering, but they give you so many freaking seeds in these packets. And this is like $1 more than a packet of beans from like a Gurney's or Burpees or whatever. And it's huge. This will last me 3 freaking years, right? The franchi stuff. So, and to compare, you've got Seed Savers Exchange. Here's my black codes, right? These are comparable. There's half as many in this. This is like crowded, and this is like a decent amount. So this is like normal cost, and this is normal cost on Italian bean steroids. I don't know. They give you so many seeds. When you buy a lettuce seed packet like this, it's like full up to here, or it'll have like an aluminum foil lined packet inside that's just crammed full. I think my last lettuce from them was a chicory. type lettuce, a red chicory type lettuce, and it was so much. Like, I bought it 5 years ago. I'm still using it. So franchi is like, you're not necessarily broke in the moment, but you are broke in general. This will last you. So now we've talked about multiple different types here. Get this back in here. What other companies are there? What other places are there that are making seeds? Well, you can go on Etsy, right? For the really weird stuff. These are heading collards, free heirloom. Oh, this is free heirloom seeds. freeheirloomseeds.org. You go on there and you request a few packets. If you can't donate, there's not a lot. Look, there's hardly any. Right? So there's hardly any in them, but they're free. They're free. You go online, you sign up, they send you these little free ones. You can go on Etsy, and you can look for someone local to you who is selling seeds. Now, sometimes these are cheap and sometimes these are expensive. This was cheap, it's charred. I think she charged me $1 for this. Sandhill Farm, it was $1. This is enough orange chard for me to plant, get seeds from of my own to save, and have my own packets later. So something that you can save seeds from, Etsy is good. Here's Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. Now, Seed Savers Exchange, Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. There's like 10 seed exchanges, right? These guys are really good. I mean, that's a lot of seeds in there. This is New Zealand spinach, which is my greens in the summer here where it gets like 110 and dry. These things will keep going. And it tastes like spinach, so this is what I grow instead of spinach all summer. Again, these guys are medium price. It's a medium amount of seeds. It's not a lot. It's not a little. They're not skimpy. They're not generous. Right down the middle. But they're Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. If you live someplace where it is hot or humid, these guys are great. They have stuff that's adapted for that. They grew all their stuff there. And they save heirloom varieties that are like kind of endangered too. So, very good. You can order from, again, Etsy. This is my Munich purslane. I like big juicy purslane. I think this was $1, but there's hardly any in there. And purslane makes buckets of seeds. So this is kind of skimpy, but I wanted them. More dollar seed. Here's our radicchio. See how few there are in there? It's $1. But, like, I haven't even opened this. What's that? I'm going to get like 3 plants. Again, if you're saving seed, that's great. So then you can get more, but this has already been planted out once, and it's still full up to there, and that's Johnny's. For $1 more, I got 5 times as many seeds. And then we've got Fedco with the chicory, and I can feel the seeds are full up to about there. Like it's kind of full with seeds up to about there. I've already planted this out once, so it used to be full up to lettering. And Fedco's really good, of course, because they have their germination test, they have their date, everything. Here we go with this. Sandhill. If I shake it out so it's like those other ones, like, oh, literally, and I've already planted out of this. It's already been opened once. So there's seeds missing. This isn't even all that they sent me. Let's compare very carefully here what I got from Dollar Seed, the amount, right? Oh, they're falling out of my hand. And the amount from Sandhill, which is a huge amount. I'm dropping them. I don't want to waste seeds here. That's 10 times as many as were in here. And it only cost me $2. Actually, this cost me nothing. Thank you, free seed. Right there, stamped on it. This was free. This was $1. And 10 times as much. Dollar Seed. I have a couple more Dollar Seeds in here. So again, Etsy, if it's someone local to you, and they're pretty cheap, and they have any kind of seed count or anything like that, or it's a weird variety, you can't find it anywhere, go for it. I mean, if you can afford it, you can afford it. For me, a lot of this is saving seed back every year. So like, here's another franchi pack, big franchi packet of turnips, right? And these turnips, this is year 3 with these turnips. And what came inside here, so you see how that's the big bag. And then on the inside, to protect these seeds, they have this little foil packet. And there's this huge, I mean, I could eat these seeds like they were a meal, right? Huge number of seeds. It doesn't say that when you order them, but that's like 4 burpee seed packets of turnips. It's wild. It's equivalent or more than Johnny's even. But again, you have to want the Italian varieties, the European varieties, or the standard varieties. That's what Franchi will have. Your basics. You know, but if you want something, a large amount of something, here's my radishes from Johnny's, obviously. Several plantings now, because we're in May. It's, you know, half an inch thick up to there. Half of that packet is completely full of radish seeds. And I think this was $4.50 or $5. So not all that expensive. But then we have, I have not opened this yet. There's probably 20 or 30 seeds only in there for these rat tail radish that are a specialty kind. The Experimental Farm Network. Again, medium priced, hardly any seeds, but they're weird ones. You can't get these anywhere else. This specific kind. So you end up getting stuff from places just to have them, like just to have the thing that you're after, if you're after weird stuff. Here we go. American seed basil. I can feel along the bottom, only that right there is where the seeds end. How many do you think are in here? I bet you there's like 10, 15 seeds in here. 3 for $1. This is 50 cents. If you're really broke, this basil, plant it, let it go to flower, let it make seeds, collect the seeds, fill the packet back up with them. Next year you'll have plenty, you don't need to buy them again. So if you're real broke, stuff like this is fine. Save seed from it. But then you could also, now this is a different interesting place. This is a Mountain Valley Seed Company. They used to be called something else, I can't remember what, but these guys, True Leaf Market, that's who they are, True Leaf Market. These guys, this basil has obviously been through better days. I grew about 100 plants for giving away. I grew about 40 to sell, and I have about 30 in my garden. And I just threw seed out there today, and this packet is full up to like there. There's probably another 150 seeds, 100 seeds in here. And this was, I think, $5, $5.50. I'll be planting from this same packet again next year. So that cheap one, 10 seeds, small garden, you're broke, it's worth it. You got big space, you want more, can't beat this. This is cheaper by the seed than this cheaper packet, right? But it's more expensive up front. So you buy it up front, and then over the years you do a little at a time. What else do we have in here? I'm looking for different companies now to talk about, because there's so many. There's so many people planting and growing and all kinds of things. Of course, you know, the cheapest company that you can get. Well, I can't find any, but the cheapest company that you can get is you. Is you saved seeds. You save your seeds from your plants. Here we've got Page's seeds. Somebody gave me these. I don't even know what this is. There's hardly any in these. They feel almost empty. I don't know how much these cost. I hope they didn't cost very much, because they're very, very close to empty. And those are difficult seeds to germinate from seed. You want to buy these usually already potted. These are poppies, EFN seeds, poppies. Here's some Franchi flax. It's full up to there. It's like the packet is like, that's all seeds underneath my fingers. I'll get years out of this. Those other ones, I'll get a couple of plants. I'm looking for a specific place now. I'm looking for adaptive. Adaptive seeds are also one of my favorite places. Let's see if we can find any adaptive. I use up those seeds like crazy though, so I might not have any. There's nobody new in here. I saved beet seeds. Those are beets. I saved a bunch. I might have to look in my, might actually have to look in my tomatoes for this. So, as you can see, I'm kind of organized by season. So like, we have grains, peas, beans, corn, tomatoes and peppers, eggplants, and then that is like greens and flowers and cool weather crops. Here's a big Johnny's bag. This was a $8 bag of snap peas. When I got it, it was full up to here. This is from 2020. No, 2021. It was full up to here. I mean, it was like completely full. It's a half pound of peas for like less than $10. Now, I mean, back then I paid like $4 or $5 for that. So now it'd be like 10. When I look on their website now, it's like 10. Let's see if we have any adaptive seed company in here. More experimental farm network. A friend saved and sent me these. This is coral sorghum. I've got a giant bag in here of sorghum that I saved for my plants last year. Making sure those are all sandhill. Here's some adaptive seeds. This is a winter wheat, but all of their packets are like this. Adaptive is really good if you live in a strange place or your weather is like iffy, not the usual. This is Maris Widgeon wheat, and the other places I've ordered this from usually send you about yay much, which how can you plant anything from that? It's crazy. This is about half full, completely packed. And they're Oregon, they're Northwest, Pacific Northwest again, but adaptive seed for squashes, pumpkins, cucurbits like cucumbers and melons, any kind of grain. They're very good. So let's compare them to a Fedco, because they cost about the same, right? Fedco has just about the same amount of grain in there, and they cost about the same. Good stuff. Man, some of these are really full. Here's Snake River Seed Cooperative. I wanted to try this Sonoran white wheat out along my side. This is from Boise, actually, these guys. They have a decent amount. I think they're about medium price. This is all amaranth in here. I don't like to grow too much of it. It makes a lot of seeds. A lot of seeds. And then, of course, you know, you're keeping your own seeds. Like here's one of my seed packets. I kept this because it had yellow and blue mixed together from the hybrid for sweet corn. But then I also look online. This is actually somebody who's really cool, Miss Penn's Mountain Seeds. And she sells Loft House, which is landrace from this area. So this is corn, mountain candy astronomy sweet corn. So it's Loft House was like neglecting crops to see which would still grow the best and make good food and make landrace varieties. Now she's pretty close to me. She's same altitude as me and all that, the person who grew these. And these were grown with some neglect and then collected. So I know that I could just throw these out there, neglect them, they will grow. I'll get my own variety from them over a few years. As I save those seeds back, I can note they were from this. And that way you don't have to keep buying and buying and buying seed and seed and seed. One of the interesting things to me is that some things will not crossbreed, like tomatoes. Tomatoes won't cross over with each other because their stamen and anthers are very close inside. Black Raspberries, rose bushes, my gosh. I, roses, no. Along the fence though, if it were me, well, what I've done along my fence is I have black cap raspberries. I looked for ones that didn't mind drought because it's very dry and hot here. And then I have grapevines. And grapevines you can propagate from sticks, or you can grow them from seed, or you can buy a little potted plant of them, or a bigger potted plant of them. And I have 2 grapevines in the ground, Van Buren and Himrod. And then one of my friends dug up a bunch of grapevines at their house that they were just getting out of control, and their dog was eating them, which is bad. And so I have several of those to plant. I do have a new fence, like it's not mine, it's the neighbor and I share it along the driveway, where I'm going to be planting more black raspberries, more grapes, and I'm kind of thinking about maybe a native honeysuckle or some gooseberries. I don't know if you can see this green over here next to me is gooseberries. All of those things are productive. They'll be fine with part sun. Grapes are kind of permanent and you do have to do maintenance cutting them back. Black raspberries, you can mow them or weed whack them to the ground, basically as soon as the berries are gone. And if you get primo cane variety, you want to look on the label for primo cane. That means that the new canes they grow each year are where the berries live. Those kind, at the end of the season, you just mow them down to the ground. In the spring, they throw up new canes, and those canes have berries. Grapes, you're going to want to just, get yourself like a knobby trunk so you can weed whack around it or whatever, and then, feed it through the fence. Roses, I have no idea. My neighbor has roses and they're beautiful. I have no idea what she does with them. I'm a food person, and the closest I get to roses is a medlar. I have a medlar tree, which is related to roses. But seeds, back to seeds. I don't know. I don't know where I was. But tomatoes. Tomatoes and peppers really, well, tomatoes won't crossbreed really at all. So you're safe saving the seeds from any tomato you get. The way I usually do this, like here's all my seed packets, but the way I usually do this is very lazy. I just take a paper towel when I'm cutting up the tomato. I write on the paper towel what kind of tomato that was. This is a ground cherry-like tomato. And then I smear the seeds onto the paper towel and fold it over. There they are, right? Bam, there's a bunch of seeds. Let them dry out, fold it up like that on the counter, and then into my seed savory they go. This is year 2 yellow. So this was from a yellow and red tomato that I liked. And I just saved some, there's the seeds, they're all mashed in there, dried out. When I want to plant them, I'll cut up the paper towel and start them like any others. With peppers, I dry them out, I put them in these little packets. Peppers will cross. Peppers will cross over. Tomatoes will not. Squashes will cross with each other. Cucumbers and squashes and melons and all those things will cross with each other. And I think it's 3 different types. So you have mixta, which are the ones, I think, I may be getting this completely wrong. I don't know the technical names correctly. But you have your summer squash, your zucchini, your crookneck, patty pans, those kind of squash. And they have the, big leaves, bushy, soft stem that's thick, squash borders, really like them. That's one kind of squash. And then you have moscata, which are like pumpkins, winter squash, some winter squash like butternut, tromboncino. They have a very hard stem, and so the squash borer bugs can't get into that stem. Those will all crossbreed among themselves. And then the summer squash, those will do that. And then you have I call them juicy cucurbits. I don't know what the actual name is, but things like cucumber, melon, Um, those will actually cross with each other, and you can end up with some weird stuff. Um, I do save seed from really good cucumbers or really good melons. And I've had one success, which is a musk melon, like a cantaloupe melon. I saved seeds from a really, really good little softball size Minnesota melon cantaloupe. And they grew back and they were slightly bigger. A success. I planted a seed and I got the food I thought I wanted. And it was just from, I ate one that I grew in the garden, and I planted the seeds again last year. And last year I got another one and I saved seeds, and I have more of those plants out there now from 2-year-old seeds. I saved actually some from 2 years ago and some from last year, because last year's melon was better. With greens, with greens, all of your brassicas will cross. If they're flowering all at the same time, they will cross. You will end up with kohlrabi that make rob. You will end up with mustards that have heads like a cabbage. You will mostly end up with these halfway in between things that aren't very good for one thing at all, but are alright for all of things. So like I have a purple stemmed broccoli, brassica, cabbage, rob, kale thing. The leaves are pretty good as kale. It makes little flowerets. I usually let them flower before I eat them, those things, the little stems. And they're very tasty. The stems, at the end of the season, I'll cut down some of the stems and chop them up and fry them, and they taste fine. Every part of a brassica plant is edible anyway, so if your brassicas crossbreed, who cares? Just replant those seeds. It'll be fine. Lettuce can get bitter if it crosses, so I tend to keep different kinds of lettuce in different areas. That's just me, but you can save seed from them. Onions, I always let onions go for a second year, at least a few, and save the seed, because onion seed does not stay good more than 1 year. Old onion seed will not germinate, for me at least. I've never heard of anyone doing it. It needs to be pretty fresh. It needs to be from that year. But I do have walking onions, and they just make little new baby onion bulbs on the top, and you put those in the ground and you have a whole new patch. So I have plenty onions just from those, which is good because I'm bad at growing onions. With fruit, it's iffy because the way most fruit pollinates is a bee goes to one tree, it gets the apple pollen, it comes to the other apple tree and it mixes it. And so that apple seed has 2 different parents, right? 2 different trees. And it might be good, it might be bad. It's just a crapshoot if it's a good or a bad tree. And you're growing a tree with that kind of stuff. You're waiting years to see if that fruit is any good or not. So I do plant a lot of fruit seeds, but I expect most of them not to be so great, and I will graft them. Grafting is a whole other thing. But I do not pay for fruit seeds, because they will not usually be true to type to the parent of that fruit. Whatever you ate, the seed may have nothing to do with the fruit that was around it. There are some crops like corn and grains where the part that you're eating is the seed. With those, you can tell absolutely 100%. You look at an ear of corn and you know if it's good or bad, crossover. Because corn will cross, right? You look at that ear of corn, you're looking at the seeds. When you look at an apple, the seeds aren't the fruit, the part that you're eating. You don't know if it's good or bad until it grows up and makes its own fruit with its own seed inside it. There are a lot of things like that. Like I said, melons and squash are things like that. So it can be hard to kind of get them stabilized and make them the way you want to eat them. It's almost better to buy in seeds if you're planting a lot of them close together. But tomatoes will be true to the parent because they self-pollinate. They pollinate themselves. There's no other pollen coming and getting on them. Peppers are usually fine. They will make peppers of unknown origin. They will be less hot if they were hot, and there's sweet peppers anywhere near. And they will be less sweet and a little more hot if they're sweet and there's hot peppers anywhere near. They kind of even out and get into the middle territory of hot and sweet. But it won't hurt you. There's nothing bad about any of this. The only thing to watch for is with squash, specifically bitter squash, bitter gourd, they call it. So if you plant gourds, loofah, or those bird's nest gourds, or anything decorative, they're very bitter, and there is a chemical that the plant produces that makes that flavor. If you are then replanting and saving your seeds from like another kind of squash, taste it before you cook and eat it. Because raw, they will taste very, very bitter, and that means they have too much of that chemical, and they will give you the shits. You will be pooping. You'll be pooping like a torrent for a day, and it can make you very sick. So taste any saved seed for squashes. Taste the squash itself raw, just a tiny bit, before you go ahead and cook it or save seeds from it. Just to make sure it's not bitter. It hasn't turned bitter from any decorative gourds. Because those will cross with it. They're related. I want to see if there's comments. Rose bushes still. So I don't even know how many. I don't know how to tell with this who's watching, who's not. I don't go live very often. And I was planning on making a video today about other things, but I just kind of saw my seed packets and was going through them and sowing some stuff. So I thought I'd talk about like the different companies and why I do and don't get certain things. But to sum up, I will not buy from companies that are politically horrible. So you have not seen any Baker Creek, you have not seen any of their offshoot brands in my seed collection. I will occasionally be given the big box store seeds or the dollar seeds, things like that, from friends for like my birthday or something. That's fine. I will use them or I'll give them away. I save seed, but when I'm buying seed, I'm looking for a lot of tested seed that will germinate, and I want quantity so I don't have to order it again. So Franchi, Johnny's, Fedco, Adaptive, and Sandhill Preservation Society. Those are the big ones. And then I've been getting a lot of stuff from the experimental seed place, just because I want weird stuff. But for the basics and the stuff that I know I want and that I can get there, it's Johnny's, Fedco, but Sandhill Preservation is like a mile above. They will give you so much extra, and they will give you advice. They will tell you what to do, how to do it, what might have gone wrong, all of those things. So Linda and Dennis is that older couple. But again, you can't do it online. You have to send them a letter in the mail with a check. And it's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. I do a money order because I don't have checks. Also, save your own seed. If you're very, very, very broke, and I've done this, you can go to the library. Most libraries will have a seed bank. They have like a little library case thing with some seeds in it. And you can check out, some seeds. You can get some seeds for free. You can look for local garden swaps, or like I do the free table every year. I had free seeds this year that I'd saved from last year, and some that I just was never going to use. Look for those things. Save your own seed from your own food that you've grown. Take the seeds out, make sure the food is fully ripe. For cucumbers, that means let them get way past where you would eat them. They're not ripe when you eat them. You have to let them turn yellow or brown or gross. Then the seeds are ready. So pick one towards the end of the season, let it get ripe. There's your seeds for next year. And save your own seeds, and it saves you some money. And propagate. Snip things and dip them in willow, get some willow bark or willow branch and soak it in water. Dip them in that, or some crushed aspirin, or some honey, and dip them into dirt and see if they will grow. There's a lot of ways to save money. But the places that produce